live? Yep, cool. Hey guys, it's Al with Longoria House Dog Training. Hey, thanks so very much for joining us tonight. This is a kind of a different format for our live question and answer show. But if you've never watched these before, what you can do is you can drop your comments down below. I have a list of things that I'm already going to go over for tonight. We've got probably about 10 or 15 things. But hey, thanks so very much for watching this. Like I said, just drop your comments down below. Let me just kind of make an introduction. This is my good friend Mandy. She's going to be joining us tonight. What Mandy's going to do is she's going to be reading these questions, and sometimes I might ask her some different questions too to kind of get some context for this. But again, hey, thank you very, very much for watching this. Appreciate each and every one of you guys doing this. We're just going to make sure that everything sounds good. Jade is behind the camera. This is my niece. She's going to be directing this. And on the other side is Mandy's daughter, Gracie. She's also going to be joining us tonight, just kind of learning how to do this thing. But hey, thanks again for joining us. So Jade, does everything sound good and look good on the camera? Yeah? All right, looks good there. Hi, Tiffany. Oh, there's Tiffany. Good to see you, Tiffany. Hey, Maria. Good to see you. All right, and I can see y'all on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the very first question on there. So what do we have as the first question?
Is it okay for me to take food from my dog?
So this is a pretty common question that I get, and sometimes, okay. Well, let me put it this way. It's not okay for you to take food from your dog. Now, let me kind of clarify that. The first thing that I actually want you to think of, if it's your own personal dog, okay, and it's a puppy, then you're probably going to have to teach them to trust you. Teaching a dog to trust you is one of the most important things that you can do with them. And teaching them how to do that really is about getting them on their place, having a leash on the dog, and then just showing them that if they begin to growl at you, okay, that, hey, we don't want you to growl at you, you can trust me with whatever it is. But here's the answer, okay? If somebody comes into your home, some relative, your neighbor, or anybody else for that matter, comes into the home and your dog is eating food and somebody puts their hand in there, it is not okay for them to do that. And here's the thing, okay, like if I had a plate of food here and I was at a restaurant and somebody's going to come over to me and try to take my food, then I'm absolutely going to do whatever it takes to stop those people. So like, hey, that's my crawfish or whatever it is. So people that are coming over to your home don't have any business sticking their hand inside the dog's food bowl, and it's not wrong for your dog to growl at them. Now, what does growling really mean? Well, growling is just your dog's way of saying like, hey, I need some space. I need, somebody to advocate for me. If nobody ends up advocating for the dog, whenever somebody comes in there, then what's likely going to happen? You're going to get bit. You're going to get bit, and that's nobody's fault but your own for sticking your hand inside the dog's bowl. So don't put your hand inside the dog's bowl. Now, for some of us, like I have working dogs, my German Shepherds, Gabby and Fritz, if they're eating food, give it to them. Leave them alone. Don't keep messing with them. It's good to ask them to, like, if they have something, to bring it to you and establish trust. But if you're really giving your dog food, don't keep messing with them, because nobody, like, you wouldn't appreciate that. So definitely don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that to your dog either. So, hey, just the big takeaway from there, if your dog is eating food, don't stick your hand in there unless you want to get bit, and it is not the dog's fault for doing that. All right. What do we got next?
All right. So next is what are some signs of stress in dogs?
Okay. Well, so here it is. Okay. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of signs of stress. Okay. So the first sign that I can just really easily think of is the dog's tail being tucked. If you see that your dog's tail is tucked firmly between their legs, your dog is pretty stressed. But another one that people generally don't really pick up on is when your dog is yawning. If your dog is yawning, okay, it's not that it's sleepy. It's really that it's a stressful situation for the dog. Now, it's not always bad when we're training dogs and we're training ourselves. It's not necessarily bad for you to be yawning, but it is important to understand that that is a sign that there is some stress. Now, stress in and of itself isn't bad, but stress that's just continuously happening and the dog doesn't have a mechanism for getting rid of it, then that's something that is bad. What's another sign that the dog is stressed? Well, all their facial expressions. Any one of these really tight facial expressions that the dog has can really be, a good indication. So tail tucked, okay, a bunch of yawning. The dog also very tight musculature, very tight muscles on their back. If your dog is kind of hunched down, all of those are signs of stress. You can't ever eliminate everything, but here's what I'll tell you. If you're trying to eliminate all stress, then you probably have to eliminate walks when there are triggers, squirrels, dogs, people, the things that kind of freak some dogs out. You have to eliminate those. You have to make your home a place of peace and tranquility. So if you've got other dogs in your home, then it becomes important to teach that inside your home that's a place of calmness and relaxation. Let me give you one more, okay? If you see the dog's face starting to tighten up and it's showing its teeth, that is really a big sign of stress, okay? And that, when you see teeth beginning to show, anybody's going to be able to pick up on that. But if you see teeth beginning to show, then it's a big warning sign that your dog is pretty stressed out. So any of those things are stressful. And like I said, and I don't want you to get the wrong idea here, like I said, stress is a very normal part of any kind of training. If you hear from somebody that says like, oh, we have stress-free dog training, just remember when any of the things that you've learned that you've loved to do, it's stressful. It's stressful to do those things. The thing about stress is, are we giving the dogs mechanisms to be able to overcome those things, and that they're not necessarily, freaking, that they understand like, hey, I overcome the stress, and then there's something comfortable and pleasurable on the other side of that. So hey, for you to ask that question, I hope that's helpful. If you have any more questions about stress in dogs, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about that. Okay, all right, so trucking right along.
All right, yeah, next question is, what's the best calm down exercise?
Okay, well, the best calm down exercise, if you're just kind of thinking about, like, not necessarily the down position, but the dog just calming down, okay, is anything that you do when there is a trigger, like the doorbell ringing, or another dog barking, or a cat walking by, and one, you become patient with the dog, and two, you begin to practice something that the dog has done before. So if the dog already knows an exercise, you've taught it when there's not a lot of stress, when there's not a lot of triggers going on, you can show the dog that, hey, this particular thing, okay, this skill that I showed you sitting by my left-hand side is something that is really beneficial for you. And this is how I want you to deal with this particular situation. Let me see that one more time, the question.
What's the best?
Yeah, so that's one. But what's the best exercise? Okay, so the best exercise by far is place training. I use it a lot. My secretary was here the other day, Gerda was here, and it was during our company Christmas party, and I didn't hear directly from her, but she ended up telling my mom that how well Gabby was behaving during the party. And one of the things that they were noticing while we were playing some games is that Gabby was calmly in her place across from where we're sitting right now. The Gabby was just laying there. Yeah, she was coming off. We allowed her to, to kind of come off and on, but Gabby was so calm. So that place stay, training that incessantly every time that you're with your dog is a great way to go. Let me add some more value to this, because I think it's important to mention this, and I don't think I've ever said this during one of the live shows before. So if you've actually taught your dog how to place stay, you've actually taught your dog how to do short leash walking, and you've also taught the dog how to come when called, the best exercise to give your dog to calm it down is to work all three of those skills in about a 15 to 20 minute window. So I would probably start with some play stay for maybe 5 minutes, then take the dog out for a walk, have the dog moving with you, sitting with you, making sure that the dog is watching as you're turning left and right, then come back home, make the dog do a little bit of coming when called. I like to use the treat toss game. That's a great way to get the dog to do that. And then and that 20-minute, that 30-minute interval with the dog going back onto their play stay. And I think that if you do that, you start on the place, you go for the walk, you do the treat toss game, the dog's learning to come, and then you calm them back down. What you're going to do is something very special. You're going to calm the dog down, you're going to bring the dog up in excitement, and then you're going to ask the dog to come back down. I love to do that. With our German Shepherds, we do something that's a little bit more intense. I will make my dog get into a very driven state of mind where they're ready to bite on the sleeve or the tug that we're playing with. And then at that moment that they're at the peak of their excitement, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the dog, by whispering to them, to come all the way back down to do some obedience, just so I can excite them again and go back and forth between excitement and calmness while I'm able to control them with my voice. So I think that's probably the best thing that you can do. But it's individual exercise, it's the play stay. Big picture exercise is going to be doing place, leash walking, coming when called, and back to place, and get very repetitive about that. You can't do enough of that stuff. All right.
Yeah, the next question is, what's the difference between a service dog, a therapy dog, and an emotional support dog?
Okay. So I'm not going to be able to speak very clearly and completely about this subject, but I do want to provide some context about what I do know here. So I'm no expert when it comes to these things, but here's the big thing, okay? When it comes to a service dog, the dog must be specifically trained to do a task to assist you with your disability. So for example, let's just say that you walk into the grocery store and you've got your service dog with you. The people are probably going to come up and ask you questions. Is this a service dog? Then you can answer yes. When you do answer yes to that, they can ask you, what can your dog do for you? So let's just say that, let's say your hand is broken, a temporary thing. Let's say your hand is broken and you can't pick stuff up. You could say, my dog helps me by retrieving. So that would technically be a service dog because they are doing something to assist you with your disability. Even if it's something like a broken hand, or let's say you broke your leg and you're on crutches and you get your dog to stabilize you from falling, that's definitely something that's a service dog, okay? And service dogs are permitted in many places where pet dogs and emotional support and therapy dogs are not. Now, an emotional support dog is not a service dog, okay? Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. The law is super gray right here, and it's hard to give a definitive answer, but, okay, if the dog has been specifically trained to do something for you, they're specifically trained to do something for you that assists you with a disability, then that is a service dog. All service dogs need to have great basic obedience, but they also have a specifically trained skill. Here's another example of a specifically trained skill that does fall under the service dog category. Let's just say that you have diabetes or low blood sugar, okay, something like that, and then the dog will come up to you and tap you on the leg or on the arm to tell you that, hey, your blood sugar is too low or too high. That's a service dog too. They can go with you places. Now, let me go over the one thing that I do know about emotional support dogs, okay? An emotional support dog is not a therapy dog, okay? Or not a service dog. The emotional support dog can actually live with you in an apartment complex. They cannot ask you, if there's a clause on your contract at your apartment complex, you don't have to tell them that you have an emotional support dog. That's actually by law, you're allowed to have an emotional support dog in any kind of apartment complex. Even if you rent a home, you are allowed by law to do that. Now, you're probably going to get some pushback from the landlords, but you don't have to tell them that you have that dog. If you have a pet dog and they have a no pet policy, then you can't bring that. So a service dog and an emotional support dog are allowed inside of apartment complexes or rent homes, and you do not have to disclose that. You do not have to disclose that information. So those are the two big things. But you cannot claim that your emotional support dog that isn't specifically trained to do something to assist you is a service dog. And that's really what gets a lot of people in trouble and causes some of us to get upset when people make claims that, oh, the dog helps me with my anxiety. That's emotional support dog, and they don't have as many rights as a service dog does. Let me just throw one other piece of information that's something unique to the state of Texas. If you're a dog trainer in the state of Texas and you have a dog with you and you are evaluating that dog, or you're in the act of training that dog to be a service dog, then that dog in this state has the rights to go in any and all the buildings that any service dog could go into, okay? So if you're in the act of training or evaluating a service dog as a dog trainer in the state of Texas, you can take the dog into those buildings for the purpose of training. Hey, you're still liable if the dog does anything, if it bites somebody, or if it pees on the floor, or, uses the restroom, but for sure, you cannot, you can take the dog in there for training purposes. All right, hope that helps.
Okay, Maria has a question.
Okay.
She said when Kaiser is in a super excited state, the red button setting on my e-collar seems not to work. It's only effective in the home setting, it seems.
Okay, so Maria, this is a really good question. So for those of you guys that don't know, we do use remote collars in our training. It's a fantastic tool. And really, if you don't know a lot about it, man, I'd love to teach you some of the things it does. As a matter of fact, we have some really great videos that we've recently put out on YouTube that can really help you. I've got a playlist, and we've got a lot of things that you can learn from that. But I really like this specific question, Maria, and let me just tell you kind of why that's happening, okay? So the way that we trained Kaiser, okay, is to use the no button, the red button on your remote collar, to nip it in the bud, to say like, hey, you've crossed this fine line here, and you're not allowed to do that. And so what happens is that level is intended to be a very low level correction. When your dog gets into an environment and they get overwhelmed and the adrenaline level begins to climb, this is when that's not going to work. My hope is, and it doesn't always work this way, my hope is that we're nipping it in the bud so continuously that the dog is going to understand that I need to go back into a calmer state before they escalate into hysterics or something like that. So if you're regularly training with Kaiser, and I know that you are, then it's okay to up the level on the remote collar. There's two ways that you can go about doing that, okay? So in the moment, what you can do is you can go ahead and unlock your remote collar, and then I would start by increasing the intensity by levels of 5 to 10, and then see what begins to work for him, okay? But then I also want you to look at the skill that you're wanting Kaiser to practice in those particular situations. Was he supposed to be moving with you? Was he in a sit stay? Was he on a play stay? Was he supposed to be coming when called? And then you begin to go back and reinforce that skill by rewarding him, okay, and turning any kind of leash pressure off when he gets it right, so he can see that there's a difference between the choices. But at some point, okay, if he's really blowing you off, you're training, and he says, hey, I'm still going to do that, it's okay to correct your dog, and it's okay for him to feel sad that he didn't listen to you and he's getting reprimanded. I'd say before you get to that point, make sure that you give the dog a ton of clarity about like, hey, this is specifically, what I want you to do, and yes, this is the boundary, and if you continually cross this boundary, then yes, you are going to get in trouble, and here's what it looks like. And so you should do that. Hey, if that doesn't work for you, make sure you let me know. I'm happy to help out as always, okay? All right. Hey, just to everybody that's watching, this is a little different for us. It's different for me not having the camera right here. The camera's probably about 5 or 6 steps away from me, so it does feel a little different. I'm not used to having like all these people in the room with me. It's normally pretty quiet. I normally have a dog right here, but we kind of take the dogs out of the room today. But hey, all I want to say is just thank you to everybody that's watching tonight. I really hope that this is useful for you guys, that you're learning something. If you haven't already, drop a comment down below about any questions that you have. And also, could you do me a huge favor? I can't tell you what it means to me. If you just go down there and hit that share button. Our small business depends on the things that we do on social media. Social media is the way that we're actually marketing our businesses. We don't go into the yellow pages or put billboards up. We count on your likes, your shares, and your comments on things like this, on Facebook and on Instagram. But hey, we're really trying to put out a bunch of great content for you and your family to help you with your dog. If you're struggling with anything, then I'm definitely here. I've devoted my life to be able to help you to raise a very happy and reliable dog. But I just can't say what it means to me. I'm so humbled that you guys are joining me. Oh, hey, Laura, it's good to see you. Yeah, you're in Singapore. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining in. What time is it over there? I know we're on a little bit of delay, but I'm kind of curious what time it is in Singapore. Well, hold on, I can ask you. Alexa, what time is it in Singapore?
The time in Singapore is 10:22 a.m. on Thursday.
Oh, okay, it's not that early. You're up already, so you're fine. So, hey, thanks everybody for watching. We've got, let's see, how many more questions do we have?
Like 7 or 8.
Okay. Hey, and guys, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. All right. So what's up next?
Oh, the $1 million question. How do I get my dog to stop pulling on the leash?
All right, guys. So here's the thing. Okay, leash walking. There's 3 pieces of information that I give here that I think really make the difference. I got to leash walk a dog earlier today, and I was only partially successful, and I'll explain why. But let me kind of help you set your mindset first. When you go out to walk your dog, it's important that you have the mentality that you're not going to make a lap around your neighborhood, that you're actually going to be thinking that you're on the dance floor. If you live on a cul-de-sac, God bless you, because that's like the easiest place that you could ever learn, or your dog could ever learn. So here's what I recommend. Kind of think about it as you're going to dance. The first thing I want you to do is short leash your dog from your front door to the dance floor, the cul-de-sac, right? Take the dog into the cul-de-sac. When you have your dog on a short leash, you walk him into the cul-de-sac. Then once you get there, you're going to go to a slack leash. What I recommend doing, I'll go ahead and grab a leash. Jay, go wide for this for just a second, because I really want to show this to people. What I want you to see, because I think that it's useful, when you go and you're going to walk your dog, you need to have the leash over your left hand, over the top of this L, just like that, okay? And you're going to hold it to where it's completely slack, but you're going to want to make sure that the leash is down here on your hip, okay? So leash over your left wrist, okay? Pin it down to your hip, and the dog is going to get all this leash right here. So here's where it's going to get a little challenging, but if you're just patient and you see it through, you're going to see a change. You're going to have that totally slack leash, and then you're going to begin to move. As you begin to move, it's super likely that the dog is going to dart out right in front of you. As soon as the dog darts out in front of you, I want you to change directions and go the other way. Your dog's probably going to dart out in front of you again. Change directions again. I did that probably 94 times today before the dog finally said, oh, I guess I should stop pulling because you're not going to let me go anywhere. I'm like, that's right. You're going to have to follow me. So number one is just get off that mentality of that you're on the racetrack. Just keep changing direction from your dog. Now, maybe do that for a minute or two if you're new to this. But change those directions. Make sure you're super disciplined about keeping the leash down by your side, and it's going to seem kind of funky. It's going to look and it's going to feel weird. But I'm telling you, this is a really great technique for showing the dog where the boundary is and by walking away. So once you've done that, okay, now is the time that you're actually going to help your dog get them right by your left-hand side. And then once you get the dog by your left-hand side, I want you to begin to reward your dog and provide a lot of clarity. Let me do this again. Go wide one more time, Jade. As you get the dog, you want to have the dog like kind of where the back of this chair is, that the dog is there, and then you just start rewarding the dog. You have your treat pouch here, you're feeding the dog, the food is coming down, the dog's like, oh, this is where you want me to be. The mistake that you can make is that you can have a super tight leash. You could be here with your leash real tight on your dog and you're feeding him. The leash absolutely has to be relaxed as you're coming down to feed the dog. So one, you got to get that mindset right. You get the mindset that the dog is going to be, you know, like you're on the dance floor. Number two, change directions every time the dog tries to take the lead. Number three, you're going to show the dog that, you know, being by your left-hand side makes the leash go 100% relaxed, and that there's going to be a ton of food there. And I think that if you can do those, because these are the things that I do, and I get people's dogs to walk very nicely for me and for them, that you're going to be very successful. But that's actually how you do it. Now, before you start what I just said, I want you to spend 1 week in the hallway of one of your homes, and we're going to get to show you this very soon, in the hallway of one of your homes, just feeding your dog 100% of its meals for actually sitting by your left-hand side. Do not feed the dog with your right hand. Feed the dog with your left. Come straight down the side of your body and feed the dog, and that's how you're going to do that. And I'm telling you, that technique has worked for me very well. Yep, there's going to be a couple of dogs that it doesn't work for. I got a technique for them too. If you need help with that, just let me know.
Well, Laura has a question. She says, what about correcting behavior at home and being consistent? It's tough to consistently have a tool in hand to correct quickly at every command. Is that needed every time? Is giving a command that I can't reinforce if needed taking training backwards or adding confusion?
You know what I tell you is just to triple down for 2 to 3 weeks to make it as clear as you possibly can to the dog what you expect by saying, like, hey, we're always going to have our tools. And if you can do that, if everybody in the household is just dedicated to making it work for 3 weeks, then you can back off. Because the answer is the dogs are always looking to expose the gaps in our training. They're looking for ways, they're looking for ways to, like, okay, are they actually watching me now? Are they not watching me? The whole name of the game when it comes to training dogs and training humans is to form a belief. You want to form a belief in their head that they know that if they do this particular thing, that it's going to happen. So you help the dog by being very consistent for a few short weeks. You use your crate, you manage the dog, you keep the leashes on them, you keep the remote collar, whatever tool, you wear the treat pouch, and you do it consistently so that way you can show them that they have to do those things. What you're going to find is the dog becomes a believer of those things and they really start doing it. When it comes to being inconsistent, then the dog will be like, oh, okay, I see that little yellow thing in their hand or that leash is on me. They will begin to understand and form a bias that says, I only pay attention when the equipment is on me. You know, and that's called equipment bias. What you want to do is you want to show the dog that my voice is something to be respected and something to be valued. The way you create respect are through your pressure tools, and the way you create value is through your food and your toys. And by talking to the dog and then utilizing those things, okay, as you're going through the process, is going to give your voice the power to be able to do what you want it to do when distractions are around. So, you know, I think that's important. You can warn dogs and you can give dogs grace whenever they're messing up and say, no, I really wanted you to do this. But at some point in time, you do have to correct them, and you don't want to go grab all your tools and then correct, because then the dog is a pretty smart creature. They'll say, oh, the only time that it's worth respecting you is when you have those things. So be consistent for a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Really try to be very diligent. Use your crates, use your place training, go for walks, triple down on that stuff, and you're going to see that your dogs are really going to respond a lot better to being consistent. All right,
Okay.
What's next?
Someone asked, I want to become a professional dog trainer. What should I do first?
I really like this question quite a bit. So I think that if I was to go back, I've been doing this, I've been training dogs for 13 years now, but if I was to go back now and to start this whole thing over, I would take my phone, a tripod, and record everything that I do. That's probably the first thing that I would do if I wanted to be a professional dog trainer, because one, I'd want to critique myself to see what is it that my dogs are doing. And then the second thing I would do is I want to document the whole process of me going from complete novice to master dog trainer. And I'm still far from being a master dog trainer. But just document that process, start learning. listen to podcasts, watch videos, but really just get out there and do it. And then train people's dogs for free. Get involved with a rescue organization, start rescuing dogs, and then start training the dogs that the rescue needs and start teaching them things. Now, don't try to rehabilitate dogs. Take the easy dogs that the rescue takes in, okay, and start training them to do some simple things like, how to stay on their place, how to walk by your side, how to come when called, learn how to use a clicker, learn how to use a remote collar. But start doing that. But step number one is start documenting that your journey from novice to pro, to world master dog trainer, and then just start doing it every day. Wake up and find a way to get in front of people and in front of dogs. And if you have to train for free for a little while, find a way to do that. And then when you're ready, when you see that you can actually do some things, start asking for money. The market will tell you if you're any good or not, okay? But that's kind of where I would start. So, hey, and if you're needing help, if you're interested in being a professional dog trainer, I'm not saying that I'm hiring, but I always like to talk to you guys, and you never know what opportunities that we're going to have coming up here in the future. So if you're looking to train dogs and learn more, I'd love to talk to you.
That's good advice. Maria says, what age do you recommend starting training?
Oh, thank you, Maria. Man, you ask the best questions all the time. Thank you. You do so good. I was thinking about this the other day. For those of you guys that do not know, and maybe I've never said it, but I'm going to say it right now. I'm really considering getting a puppy, and I think I said the other day I wanted to get something in February, but that seems really close right now. So I think I'm going to wait just a little bit longer because February really kind of seems that it's pretty close up. So look, I'll tell you something with Gabby. When Gabby was going to be conceived, I told the breeder that I wanted the male and the female dog eating a specific food because I wanted Gabby's DNA to be built out of this food. Now, that's really, really detailed and kind of geeky, but that's me right there. I really wanted everything. And then I also told the breeder, which I think is kind of funny, I told the breeder, there's this song by Coldplay, Up and Up, yeah, there's a song by Coldplay called Up and Up. And I told the breeder that was the first song that I ever wanted Gabby to hear because I wanted to make associations back to that song, the dog's entire life. And I still do that. And I'm going to try not to cry right now. But I did that for Jasmine. I had a special song for her. And so now it's difficult for me to listen to it because I made so many associations back to that song. But I just think that it's, anyway, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things where, I want to train before conception. But I'll tell you this. So here's the real answer. So I think that if you just brought a dog home, and you're considering, hey, when do I start the training program? I think that you actually start the day you get the dog. There is training that I do at day 3. Puppies, literally just came out the womb a few days ago, and now we're actually doing stuff to begin to develop the dog's brain. One really cool, geeky fact that I absolutely love is that 90% of the dog's brain grows between conception and 6 months. It is an absolutely golden opportunity for the dog, for you to teach awesome stuff to the dog. And yes, everything that you do here can be rewards-based. There's so much rewards-based stuff that you can do. But the thing that I do on day 3, it's not rewards-based. It's pressure-based. You know what you do on day 3? You flip the dog on its back, pressure, and you hold it there for 3 seconds. Then you hold the dog, the puppy, three-day-old puppy, up in the air for 3 seconds. Then you flip the puppy upside down for 3 seconds. And then you take a frozen cold rag, put the rag down, it's frozen and cold. You put the puppy on that for 3 seconds. And you do that for several days. That's the first training that we ever do with dogs. And it helps the dog learn how to deal with stress. The dogs that actually do that end up learning that they don't have to be all that stressed out. They actually do better as adults as opposed to just, freaking out to stuff. So that's a good thing to do. Not everybody has the opportunity to do that, but I ask for that. But if I get a puppy, an 8-week-old puppy, I start training the day that I get them. I start teaching them the clicker. I start teaching them their name. I start teaching them how to heel. And we play a ton of games for me to develop their parade drive. So hope that helps.
Maria and all of us, I think, want to know what food it was that you...
Yeah, that's a secret. Like I can't tell you. Well, I can. So here's the answer. So here's the answer. Unfortunately, I'm going to give you the answer. Unfortunately, that food does not exist for Americans anymore.
Oh, really?
Okay. So the food that I insisted feeding is Origin. Now I'll tell you why. The reason I wanted to feed Origin is everybody that knows me or has watched me or trained with me, you guys know how geeked out I get on science. Okay. So the Origin at the time that when Gabby was born 2.5 years ago, if you look on the back label, there's an ingredient on there that's called DHA. DHA is an omega-3 fatty acid, and it is the fatty acid that is responsible for the formation of brain cells and for like joints and stuff like that. So there's some studies out there that say like when dogs have very high DHA, that it is that they can be very intelligent. Okay. All right, so with this food, okay, the food I think at the time had 0.6 DHA, which is particularly high. If you look at a lot of these dog foods on the back of them, they're going to say like DHA 0.05. That's way too low for your puppy. There's actually a really good dog food out there that I like for puppies. But every time I recommend it, I also tell people to supplement sardine and anchovy oil because if they don't do that, I think that puts the puppy a little bit behind developmentally if they don't have that. So I was feeding Origin at the time. The best thing you could possibly do for the dog is probably feed a raw diet and really know how to balance it. But that stuff's real tricky. And honestly, this is not my field of expertise. I don't know a lot about it. Hey, the next time that I see you, I'll bring some with me, and we'll video that. Maybe Maria said that she wanted to eat some of the food, so I'll bring some Origin with me, and we can have a little Origin eating contest. Whoever eats the most before throwing up will get either you pay me for the training session or I give it to you for free. I guess we could roll it out.
You better document that.
Yeah, we're gonna film that. So. How are we doing on time? We still got about 10 more minutes, guys. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and any questions that you guys might be asking. Hey, if you haven't already, right now is a good time to go down like in the corner right there where it says share with that big button. Like hit that button and let people know about what we're doing. Yeah, and so drop your questions down the console. Hey, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you guys like? Oh, you want to do that? Yeah, we'll do that. So, look. Do you guys like this new format? Do you think I should fire Mandy, or should Mandy continue to come each week? It's hard being on air. I've been doing this for a while, and so I can't tell you guys. And Mandy, thank you very much for being here and joining me. Gracie, thank you very much for being here. Jade, you suck. Jade, thank you very much. Yeah, Jade has a lot of control here, so I better act right because Jade can do things. But look, hey, what do you guys think about this format? About having me and Mandy on the air, going over the questions. Hey, if you're liking it, Mom, you don't count, Mom. But like my mom just literally hit the heart button like 3 times. Mom, I love you, but hey, if you're really enjoying this, why don't you guys throw some thumbs up? If you're not enjoying this, then I guess there's that angry face down there. Don't hit that. Okay, yeah, don't hit the angry face, because then we'll just have to probably block you or something like that. I blocked somebody the other day, so if you want to get blocked, then yeah, you can hit the angry face and then say, "Ow," Oh, look, Anna. Thank you, Anna, and Anna. We love you too. Okay, so. Okay. What am I talking about?
We have a question about how do I get my dog to stop chasing squirrels?
You should throw chicken at your dog every time. This was on my mind. I was reading. I shouldn't have done this, but I was reading something from my competitors about how to stop separation anxiety. and it was just like the most ridiculous advice I'd ever seen. Look, let me just get real basic here, okay? Any behavior that your dog does, if your dog is doing any behavior and it consumes chicken within 1.5 seconds of that behavior, that is going to tell the dog's brain to do a behavior more. So, but I'm not going to talk about separation anxiety right now. We'll cover that again later. But if your dog has separation anxiety and your dog trainer has told you to throw chicken at your dog, please fire them, because they don't know what they're talking about. If you're rewarding an anxious state of mind, you are going to get more anxiousness. But there's my little miniature rant. But if your dog trainer advises you to throw chicken at your dog, and don't worry if the dog keeps freaking out, run away, and run away very, very quickly when you get this advice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Maria, well, is it wrong to encourage Kaiser or allow Kaiser to run after deer?
Is it wrong to encourage or allow Kaiser to run after deer? No, it is not wrong. Does he and do you have the control with your voice to turn him and call him off? If you do not, then he doesn't get that privilege. You need to go back and work more on his control in distracting environments. Now, you could let him chase if you have a leash. Be very careful. Please do not use a flexi leash, because if you're telling your dog to chase a deer on a flexi leash, you're going to cut your leg off. I'm not kidding. Okay? The flexi leash is not a good tool. Look, I think the dog should be allowed to do or to be who they are. And like your dog, if your dog is a German Shepherd or any dog that has prey drive, then yeah, you should let them do the things that allow them to exhibit prey drive. If you live on a ranch and there's acreage and there's wildlife, let them do that. But if you live in the city, don't do that, because a deer is going to run across the street, your dog's going to chase after that, and there's somebody on Instagram, and they're going to hit your dog. So you're going to have to teach your dog, you're going to have to teach your dog other ways of having prey drive. Throwing balls, playing with a flirt pole, playing tug, different exercise like that. But if you're absolutely sure that you're in an area where there's no threat to your dog, and you have the ability to recall your dog with tools or with no tools, please do it, because it makes your dog happy. One more thing here. I personally love to associate any time that my dog is in prey drive back to me. I want the dog to know that I control that, because I want them to assign the emotions to me, so that way it makes our relationship even better. Yeah, hey, that makes sense, okay, that he does better off-leash than on-leash. Just keep a monitor on it. Keep your remote collar on him. It's a nice seatbelt to have in those situations where you think that your dog is going to begin to get away. And just work with him. Just work with him on that. One of the things that you can do, Maria, that will also help is just have your line. If you're going to use a long line, keep the line slack, okay, with no tension on it. And that'll help you too, because that tension kind of sometimes can amp the dog up if it's not being used precisely well. All right, so let's go. Let's go one more question. What's the best question on there?
Oh gosh. How do I get your tips on my Amazon? Oh, on my Amazon show.
Okay. You know what I had meant to do. You know, I think I'll do this real quick. So I'm gonna get up for just a second, because I'm gonna go grab my Echo show that's sitting across the room. I'm gonna plug it in so you guys can see that, and then kind of do that. So here, let's grab it. You know what I should have done? It's like Gracie's sitting there. I should have told her to come grab it.
I probably would have.
That's okay. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is an Echo show. Let's see if I have enough cable right here. The Echo show is one of those devices that you can use to connect to the internet. It has the artificial intelligence Alexa. She's constantly learning things. For those of y'all that don't know, we actually have skills in the skill store to be able to do that. Hey, would you mind throwing those up on there, the links to those? Yeah, we have two skills in the Alexa skill store. One of the skills that we have is a daily news tip So like you wake up in the morning and you want to hear like, hey, what's the weather like? What's the traffic like? Hey, what's Al saying about what I should be doing with my dog, or something that's going to be relevant? And then we have another skill, which is a custom skill, and that custom skill actually allows you to specifically ask me dog training questions. And then what we do is we get those dog training questions, and we come back and we do these live shows to be able to answer those for you. So let me just make sure this is it on? Let's take a look. Okay, cool. So it's on now. So here's how you actually go about getting it to answer, like to give you your news. So I'm going to say, Alexa, what's my news?
Here's your flash briefing. From Longoria House, helping you raise a happy, reliable dog.
Here's some basics when you're actually thinking about a food-aggressive dog. The very first thing that you want to do is you want to eliminate free feeding the dog, okay? I definitely wouldn't want to have any food on the ground, okay, for the dog to have, okay? Because the more, like anytime that a dog has a bowl and they're eating over it and the human comes
Alexa,
close.
stop. So that's one thing you can do. Those are absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. If you follow the links that Mandy is putting up right now, you can go in there and enable them. We're really just trying to put a lot of relevant information on there to help you with your dog. But one of the cool things is I'm the only dog trainer in the United States right now, today, that has video and audio flash briefings for your dog. And Laura, no, I don't think that there's something like that yet. Like, I know that those exist, but I don't necessarily know how to go grab those. What Laura was asking, is there a Bitly or something like that?
Yeah.
You know, I think there's
I have to make it.
you know, actually, why don't you, on the website where it says free dog training, we have that page and that has the links. Why don't you throw the link up to that page, and that'll make it a little bit easier. Yeah, what she's going to do, she's going to throw a link up right now. She's going to throw up a link right now to a page where I have all the different things that I'm doing for free, that's not going to cost you anything, that you can begin to do that. Like, we're doing those virtual reality dog training videos. We have the stuff on the Alexa. We're doing these live shows. We've got all the memes and the little videos that we're making. So. The little videos that we're making just to really help you with your dog. Now I'm going to show you the other one, which is a custom one that we've made. This one's going to be growing. It's going to be like a search engine for your dog training. It's going to be completely free. You'll be able to ask questions, and as you go in there and you ask questions, if I've created content around that, then you're going to be able to access that content right away. So that one's called Al the Dog Trainer. So let me go ahead and throw that. Up. So if you go there to dog training, and then let's grab that, and then there you go, and you can just throw that one out. Yeah. So on Al the Dog Trainer, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to ask questions. So here I'm going to ask a question. Like, hey, how do you get a flash briefing? Or how do you train your dog to sit? Alexa, open Al the Dog Trainer.
Howdy, it's Al from Longoria House Dog Training, and welcome to my skill. You can ask for our contact information, request a callback, or submit a question for our live Facebook show, which takes place every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. If you ever need help, just say help, and I'll repeat your options. Which one of these would you like?
Ask Al, how do I teach my dog to sit?
You can say, ask Al.
So
followed by
that
the
will happen
question.
sometimes. Oh,
You
I
can
think I
also
forgot
say,
something.
Contact information, and I'll send my contact info. And you can also say, I'd like to
Alexa.
call back.
Ask Al, how do I teach my dog to sit?
Thank you very much for submitting
Alright.
your question.
It's a little
Please
slow
be sure to join me
because this
Wednesday
is, pretty
at
new.
8 p.m.
But what I'll
on
show you is
Facebook to watch
right
me
here on the
answer
screen,
your
I just
question.
got the question.
What can I
Alexa,
help you with?
stop. So right
Hey,
there.
thanks
as
so
soon
much
as I
for
ask
using
the
my
question-
skill. I really appreciate it. Please be sure to share this with your friends and family.
As soon as I asked the device a question and it understood me, then a few moments later, it automatically sends that, and then we can create content around there to be able to help you with your dog. But hey, those skills, like I said, they're absolutely free. They're in the skill store. If you go down, and to the link that Mandy provided, you can just copy and paste that. Go to my website, and you'll see links for all the different free things that we're doing. Well, hey, I really appreciate each and every one of you guys watching this tonight. Hey, it would mean the world to me, if you just signed on, if you would share this content. But hey, if this was your first time watching, thanks again. If you're one of my friends or clients or family, hey, we love you guys. Appreciate it very much. Mandy, thank you very much for doing this. Gracie, thank you for being here. Jade, good job. But hey, if you guys have any comments or questions about about this new format that we tried tonight, I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, guys, so we're done for the evening. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.